After designing over 300 client websites, a trend that I keep seeing actually has nothing to do with design being the problem with your website, and it actually has everything to do with just being too close to your own expertise to be able to clearly communicate what you need to in website format. So in this video, I'm going to break down 3 content traps that I see people fall into all the time so that we can help you build a website that actually is an asset for your business. So let's talk about what I'm seeing and what I mean when I say that you are too close to your own content. And I feel like this episode is actually really reflective for me because I've been working on my own website. All the time I am talking to clients and saying, I need you to give me homepage content. I need you to give me X, Y, and Z. And it's easy to ask for those things, but to be the person on the other end, I know it's not that easy. And I always try to guide people through creating that homepage content or helping them pick out their website structure and the pages that they need. But when it's actually me, I was the one sitting down trying to type out my own website content to give my own website a new update. It's so hard. And so this episode is really like what I see in others and then exactly how it applied to myself, even though I have done this 300 times. So if I've done this 300 times and it is still hard, then do not worry if these are some of the traps that you're falling into, okay? I'm going to help walk you through them. We can get through the other side and we're going to do it together. So the first one that I see all the time is messy site structure. And what I mean by that is people come to me and they want an about page, a mission page, a history page, a director's page, like all these pages that really encompass who you are and what you like, who your business is and like the people of your business. So I'm going to say it this way to maybe make it clear for you to understand. I don't want you to send people on a scavenger hunt around your website to try to figure out who you are. If they're interested in what you do, tell them who you are so that they can connect to you. We want one about page. We don't want like 5 different about pages that have like 200 words on them each, maybe. People will send me like one like short paragraph bio, and that is not enough. So if you want to share your mission, your about blurb about you, your team, do that, but do it all on one page. Don't try to overcomplicate things. Make it really clean and simple for people to figure out who you are. The other thing that I want to point out as far as like having a messy site structure is that it looks overwhelming. If you have your site structure, and when I say site structure and pages in your navigation, I mean all those little, people call them tabs all the time, just your pages, your navigation at the top of your website. I always say like home, about, services, blog, contact. I think they should be one word navigation item menus. People often put like who we are, what we do, work with us, contact us. You don't need all those words. People want to know just how quickly they can navigate your site to find what they need. Do not overcomplicate it. Do not make it messy. Make it as simple as possible. My recommendation is one word pages in your navigation. And that should make at least figuring out what pages you want to include on your site easy. That step can be easy if you follow that guideline. I'll also give you a little SEO tidbit here. Pages that have under 300 words, they don't matter for SEO. So if you are splitting all of your content up into these just short little bits of information, that's not helpful for SEO. SEO, or search engine optimization, the search engines actually need more words to be able to understand what you're trying to say. If you just give it a few short sentences, they're not going to know what you do either, and they're not going to be able to send people to your site. So to create a clean site structure, you want your page titles to be one word, get people directly to where they want to go as easy as possible, and give them all the information they might need about whatever that is on that page without having to click around. I'll give you a quick Google AI overview stat that I found here. It says the average time spent on a web page is generally 52 to 54 seconds across all industries. And it says a good benchmark to aim for or exceed the 1 minute mark is to ensure content relevance. So if you are making your navigation messy and you are making them sit there and work to read what you even have to offer, they're going to bounce and they're going to spend that 52 seconds trying to decode what you're even saying. So do not make it hard. Make it very simple with your site structure of where you are trying to send people on your website. The second trap I see, I mentioned earlier, is actually just staring at the blank page, trying to figure out what you want to say and writing the content. So now that we have tools like ChatGPT and other AI tools, I've noticed that people are writing all their content with chat and submitting that to me. So we're kind of getting past the problem of actually submitting the content. People come to me now and they say, here's this whole folder of content. Can you make me a website? But I can immediately tell when it's been written by ChatGPT. And so if I can tell that, then I know that your viewers are going to start figuring this out too. And you don't want your whole website to just read like you don't care, like you just handed over your home base online to be written by AI. So let's talk a little bit about the things that I'm seeing and how I can figure out if it's written by chat or AI. I feel like my first 2 points kind of contradict each other, but I think it'll make sense in a second. The first one is that it's too wordy. Like you're just over explaining yourself. Like there's too much content and it's all kind of saying the same thing, but not really saying anything at all. The second thing is that so too wordy, but also too short. Like everybody's content is like line, 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 line. And I do like reading like that, but it is to me now a dead giveaway that you didn't write that because we don't always write like that. You know, we write in paragraphs and like longer sentences. So when you have like a line that doesn't even take up half of a web page and that's all of your content, I know that ChatGPT wrote that. Okay, you cannot fool me anymore. The other thing I see is just a formatting situation, and I edit this when I'm putting your website together, but maybe you haven't noticed this because you're giving me your content like this. But when chat gives you content, it will like the first line will be appropriate, and then every line after that in like your paragraph or the section will have a space before each little sentence. So it's just like to me a dead giveaway that that's not how we format our text. So if you're going to use chat, then at least clean up your formatting and don't have those extra spaces at the beginning of each line. The other thing is that when every page on your website starts to have the exact same format and the exact same structure, it's obvious that that was written by AI. So those are just my things to watch out for. Obviously, AI is a great tool. I always say use it to help you make a draft and then write it in your own words. Like let it give you kind of an outline and then write it in your own words. I even have created what I call the custom copy curator tool to help you write your homepage draft because like I said, staring at that blank page is so intimidating. What do you say? And instead of like what words to actually say, I've written this to kind of like pick my brain. Like what do I include on a website homepage to convert people, to be friendly for the search engines, to get my message across, to be professional, all of those things. That's what you need from AI. You don't need like these are the actual words. Those need to come from you. So I'll drop a link in the description if you want to try my GPT and kind of pick my brain on what you need to include on your website homepage. You just answer a couple questions and it'll spit out a really great draft for you. But again, it's a draft. I want you to then go through and write it and make it really your own. The next thing I want to talk about is your services and your service descriptions. So many people get excited about writing everything on their website except their services, but you are in a business to sell your services. So if you're not writing about them or writing about them appropriately, how are you expecting to sell your business online and to get new clients and customers online? And again, this is not something that you can let ChatGPT write for you. This is your North Star. This is what you do. You deal with your clients and customers every day. You know what they need. You know what they want. You need to get into their brain and think about what they're asking you for and write that into your service descriptions. And I've been rewriting my own website. And for like 9-10 years now, I've had one services page. I offer website design. So I list my website design service there. You can read about it. And, it's changed over the years of what's on that page. And then there's always like testimonials and there's a place to sign up to talk to me and figure out if we're a good fit for your website. It's pretty much always been that. But lately I've started offering a new service that's not just a totally custom website, but I will take your Squarespace website that already exists and give it a little refresh. And so part of me redoing my website is recognizing that the people that come to me for a custom website and the people that come to me for a Squarespace refresh are totally different people. They do not need to land on the same services page. So I want you to think about that for your business as well. Are you sending people to somewhere that is so clear, that is outlining exactly what they need. With that, I'm going to transition into my segment 2 of this episode, which is what am I actually updating on my own site? I'm a firm believer that a website is not something that you just do once and then walk away from and never touch again, or at least wait a couple years for. It's something that you need to be constantly maintaining. And that's why I'm creating these videos, so that I can have a check-in point with you to kind of challenge you and say, here's what I'm seeing, here's what I'm doing, what are you doing? And here's something that you should try out. So to check in with you and tell you what I'm doing, like I've been saying, I've stepped back from my own website and said, okay, this year I want to present myself, less as a freelancer and more as an agency that it's growing into. I've worked with over 300 clients at this point. It's not just a little side hustle, and I want it to represent that. So I've been rewriting and rebranding my own business and website to reflect more of an agency. And something that's come of that I want to share with you is that I really think that the homepage should be able to stand alone on its own and tell the whole story of what you do and what you offer. Like if someone landed on your homepage, would they know what you do, and would they be able to take action in order to work with you or buy from you? That's my challenge for you today, is to objectively step back and look at your website in that way. And if you want to go even a step further, something that I challenged myself to do is when you land on designingtherow.com and you just look at that top, we call it a hero section, above the fold, whatever you want to call it, before you scroll, if you just look at that view, do you know what Designing the Row is? So my challenge to myself was, how can I present that section as clean and as simple and as direct as possible? That is the first impression that you make. So feel free to go to designingtherow.com and see if you think I've achieved this. But something else that I did while I was working on this was not only just your first impression, when you're looking at your computer like this. I got up, I'm not kidding, I got up and I walked to the other side of my room and I looked at my computer and I said, if somebody was looking at my website across the Starbucks, would they know what that website is? And so I think it's pretty cool. If you walk in my office and you see my computer all the way on the other side of the room, you'll know exactly what I do, and you can see the actual website design product that I offer all in one view. So just something to think about as you're going through all these traps of fixing your own content and giving you a perspective that I'm taking with my own content. Again, sometimes we're just so close to our own expertise and to what we're doing every day that we're so in the weeds and we can't take a step back. So my challenge to you is to literally step back from your website and look at it with that perspective and say, what is that about? Does that communicate? Does that read? And something else with my own homepage, for the first time, my homepage doesn't tell my backstory. It's always said oh, I'm Catherine, I moved to Nashville with nothing. I didn't know anybody, I didn't have a job, and yay, now look, I have this business. I have 300 clients, I've been in business for almost 10 years. And people, when they initially talk to me, they say, I love your story. I really resonated with that. That's amazing. And so I've always kept it on my homepage. But in this season of stepping back and looking objectively at my business and my website, that story has nothing to do with the product that I offer, the service that I offer. So I have taken it off my homepage. It can live on my About page where it belongs, but my homepage is about Squarespace website design that I offer, and that has nothing to do with it. If you are interested in Squarespace website design and want to know more about me, you can visit the About page. So it's just a whole lesson in stepping back, removing ourselves from what we are so involved in, and just taking a different lens, a different perspective, and putting that out into the world for people to easily take in. Okay, my last segment here in this episode is something that I'm experimenting with right now, something that I'm doing on Squarespace that I want you to know about and encourage you to try as well. I'll also be checking back in with you in a couple episodes to say, did this work? Did this not work? So we can kind of do this together. But something that I've been feeling a lot lately is that the email signups on websites are just not what they used to be. When I started 10, 15 years ago, you could just put an email sign up bar and say, sign up for my email list. And that would work. People would get on your list. But now our inboxes are so cluttered. We all probably have multiple email inboxes. We do not want more emails. And even when you say like sign up for exclusives or sign up for, everybody says like news and updates. Nobody cares about news and updates from your emails. That's why we have social media. So I've just been feeling this like this isn't working, but I don't know what to do about it. So I'm going to try something new, and I'm going to try using a quiz. So basically, you get to the bottom of my homepage and it's got a quiz embedded right there in my website rather than put your email in here. And it's going to ask you a couple questions. And basically, the premise behind it is to point people to where they need to go. So if they get to the bottom of that homepage and they haven't clicked around and found what they needed yet, it will say, hey, do you already have a website? Hey, do you need a new website? Hey, what do you need here? Click, click, and they'll go through this quiz, and at the end it'll say, you know what? You are the perfect candidate for the Designing the Row Squarespace refresh, and it will lead them directly to that page and get their email if they want to learn more. So that's what I'm going to try. It feels like interactive, it feels personable, and not only does it help me get people to where they need to go, but it helps me serve people better when they come to my website. So that's what I'm going to try. If you want to see exactly how I'm doing this, I will put the link in the description. But that is what I'm trying and experimenting with on Squarespace right now. In the next video, I really want to dive into actually creating that clarity on your homepage and really setting up your homepage for success. So watch that video next. And again, if you're curious about setting up that Interact quiz, I will link that for you as well, so you can test out this new lead generation experiment on your website with me as well.